Welcome back to the Titanium Hangar. Happy Friday, everybody. Hope everybody is doing well today. And today I want to talk to you about Fanstoys Fortificus Titanicus, or their FT-40, or their Fortress Maximus. And the big question is, why now? But we all probably sort of know why now. I have a lot of thoughts about this. I'm going to talk about all of the thoughts and the feedback I've been getting about this all week long from all kinds of people all over the place. This is kind of fun because 5 years ago I made a video using what I thought was a life-size picture poster, but the biggest I could make went up to 44 inches. This is going to be 47, maybe 48, around that size. And with that, mine's a little short, but still good enough. It's a 5-year-old video. That's how long we've been waiting for this figure to come out. And I did some comparisons. I'm going to roll through some of those clips from that, but you can go watch the video. I'm going to link it down below, I hope. But there's a lot of different aspects of this that go with this, and a lot of things to analyze, think about, and talk about. Say, a US version of this guy. Will that happen? And then, of course, there's the biggest reason that they're putting it back on the radar, and we all know it. We'll talk about this and more coming up. Alright, so for the first reason why Fanstoys put this up in the most recent TFcon third-party slideshow is because they didn't want me to make a negative video about sellers that are pricks, and now it's pushing off 2 weeks because next week I think I got some stuff to say about Wind Charger that needs a video. But this is me in my video from 5 years ago, 2019, I believe. Late 2019, something along those lines. They don't give you the date so much anymore, but it was a fun time, an exciting time. But I have to say, I've lost steam and started losing interest, thinking that they will never make this. I literally thought that all the work I put into trying to make this size comparison, and I'm excited, I'm hyped up, I got a place for it. 5.5 years or so go by, and you just think it's not going to happen. And I collect other toy lines, and there's other stuff where I was going to put this. So there's a lot of factors to consider. But this is how it looks with some of the combiners of the time, and that's Zeta, Superion, that is the DX9, Omega Supreme, and you can just see how big it is compared to all that. And yeah, we see this when we see the Lewin resources, but we'll get into that here in a bit. But there's a whole lot of questions that come up. I'm going to go through a couple more of these pictures. This is me speculating on how big Cerebros will be, and in my video I turned it upside down. That might have been a better screen grab to have grabbed, but I was pretty close. I mean, obviously Optimus Prime's not going to transform perfectly, but size-wise, scale, I mean, Cerebros is literally a half a head shorter than MP-44, which is my comparison on my shelf right now. So I was pretty close on that. And mine is, I would say, 10%, maybe 9% too small. Now that I think about it a little bit more, I've had 5 years to think about this. This is the Titan Returns head that I compared to it, so you can see how much bigger the head is to Titan Returns. And of course, we all know all this stuff because we've gotten Cerebros since then, but Cerebros was still a pipe dream at this time. We still didn't have Cerebros. We didn't know if, when, or when that's going to happen, when that's going to show up. And then I do go into my first giant picture of a prototype I made to do comparisons and get excited for. Was the first HasLab, the cell barge. I supported that cell barge heavy. That's what a HasLab should be. Something so big and so ridiculous, it'll never make it to retail. A Snowcat could actually sit on a Walmart shelf. It could, technically, if they made it small enough. The second reason that I believe, and you probably agree with me, is that Lewin Resources was wildly successful with this. This isn't one of those things that sat on shelves and people wondered, will it sell? Show Z sold out in just a few days. Less than a week. I don't know if it was 3 days, 5 days, but I know the first day went up for like $1,100 or something around there, $1,099 or something. Second day, it went to $1,300. It was selling so fast they had to up the price. Well, they didn't have to, but they chose to. And if you did order one of these, how much did it cost you? I'm curious. Some people said it cost some additional shipping charges. Nowadays, these additional shipping charges, we'll talk about that in the price section, but $1.36 on the stuff I just pre-ordered. But this was a wildly successful campaign. So many people were happy to get this, and these are pictures sent in to me. So the first one was from Gib. This one's from Sam. And some fantastic pictures right there. Thank you guys so much for sending these pictures into me. And I can enjoy this through other people. Now, the reason I didn't get one was because I wanted to offer all the viewers the opportunity to get one before I did, because I really didn't want one that wasn't extremely G1. I want the close to G1 that I could get. And if there was some left after 3 weeks and I could have saved a little more money up, then I would have done that. I would have jumped in on it simply because of the size and how impressive it is. I mean, I like the 2013 Titan Class 1, but I don't love it. I like it, but I don't love it. I mean, this feels a lot like that, but this is amazing. I mean, the fact they pulled this off, and it looks really good, and some of these shots are just absolutely amazing. I'm impressed. But how did it ship? And people refresh my memory, it shipped in 4 boxes. So I believe the arms were in one box, legs were in the other, torso in the other. And so that is probably the model that Fanstoys is going to follow. Now, there's a lot of questions about will they ship the arms out in like box A, because they did that with their Omega Supreme. They shipped an A and a B, and with that, they were both really expensive. And by the way, they really tried to price gouge everyone on their Omega Supreme A and B set until DX9 released theirs, and then they came down a full $100. So we'll get into pricing soon. But yeah, that's probably the model they'll do. I'm okay with it if we get like a leg at a time. Well, not one leg, both legs in one shipment. Then the torso in the next shipment, and then the arms in the last shipment, which would be awesome. And we all already have the head, right? Everyone's got the head. Everyone that's intending to get this probably already has the Cerebros. And with that, even if you were one of these people that came on board collecting during the COVID time frame, the Cerebros came after that. So it's one of those things, I believe. Most people that are in this for a pound already have themselves a Cerebros. But yeah, if they sent them one component, well, the legs, then the torso, then the arms, and I'd review each one as they came because it's exciting, it's fun, and interesting to talk about. But let's get into this here. So they're gonna do it because the success of Lewin Resources is my opinion. But let's actually talk about the TFcon Pictures here. Now, I think it looks good. We've got new poses. I still feel like it's digital renders that are colored because one of the renders is the exact same picture I have from all those years ago. They included a sword that lights up, and then there's the other little guy, which we will talk about when we get to Cerebros. Here he goes. There's going to be light up effects. They're going to put some more stuff into it, but I want to point this out. Now, all of us are used to buying Fanstoys and expecting a high premium paint job. Now, we did not get a high level premium paint job with one of their largest figures that they've made, which I don't have the Omega Supreme, so I don't know how that thing went, but it doesn't look like it's painted head to toe. But I do have their Phoenix, and their Phoenix is not painted head to toe. It has some paint apps to it, and there are things with the Phoenix X that are upgraded, but it's not painted head to toe. This won't get painted head to toe. So with that, I mean, that's already something that, looking forward to the pricing segment, it's not going to be painted head to toe. So you're going to have some paint apps, some things to it, but for the most part, mostly bare plastic is my expectation. And this sword's going to be real big. I mean, just kind of showing off the size. We show off the size, but we went over this in Sunday's video, but light up gimmicks, light up stuff, and look, you can convert it to do different things, I guess. I don't really know the difference. One looks dark and one looks brighter. So maybe you can swap out stuff on it. Not so sure exactly how that's going to work. And then the gun is huge. So, I mean, all this stuff is big. Not sure exactly how it's going to ship. I doubt it's going to ship all in one box. I doubt it's going to ship all at the same time. But who knows? Who knows? And I doubt it will be done by the end of 2026. So those are my doubts. Doubting Mike over here. But it's not negative. I'm just being realistic and positive here. And let's move on to the alt mode here. So this is the obligatory mode that most people don't use, the vehicle mode, but it is what it is. They're including it. Not sure if it's going to have wheels. I doubt it. Looking at the bottom, doesn't look like it has wheels. But with that, it's going to transform. Transforming this is going to be a beast too. Another thing I want to say here, transforming thing, it's going to be heavy, but it's going to be mostly plastic. You know, they're known for die cast. You do not see die cast in the renders. See, Fanstoys is real big about showcasing the die cast in the renders, and there's no die cast in the renders yet that anyone's seen. So henceforth, for art thou, I'm saying no die cast except the screws and the hinges and the hardware. There's just another angle of this, and it looks good. I do think it looks great. To me, on large Autobot bases, Metroplex is number one. So, I mean, you got the Lewin resources, you already got the number one. This, to me, is a side one, like a second number two, and I don't think that many people are going to be able to collect every single Citybot in this scale. Alright, so let's talk about this guy here. This is Cog, and I just forgot the name. Forgot all about that figure. They made him in Titan Returns for Hasbro, and this is Fanstoys version. So, speculation that this one would be a separate figure and its own release, but not part of the price of the main one. So that's something to put out there. Pretty cool, interesting figure at that. And with that, this one would probably get the diecast and the paint, everything that you expect with a Fanstoys release. And if they do release it separately, because kind of like they do show Cerebro as the head, but you're not going to get it with the main figure. You're not going to get it with the Fort Max, the FT-40. So this assumption that this is separate is probably pretty accurate. But now we got to get into the nitty-gritty on what I think about the price. Now, price on this is all over the place in speculation. Now, there's a lot of things you can look into and you can factor into, but let's just say some people say it is going to be $1,000. Nobody has thought it will be less than $1,000 lately. Now, maybe 5 years ago, people were like $750, and I was like, I hope it's only $750 or something along those lines. But now people are like probably between $1,000 and $1,500, and then some people are like, no way, this is less than $2,000. And you know, a lot of the speculation is because you just take a figure that's $250 that they're making, and this is 5 times taller than a $250 figure, so I put it like $1,250. I mean, that's one level of speculation in there. But those figures have diecast and are painted head to toe. This is not going to be painted head to toe. This is not going to have diecast. This is going to be a whole different ball game in the way that they do this. And I do start to wonder on some level if they figured out how to do part reuse on this. They probably won't, but there's a possibility they could, like the fronts of the legs, and just some parts can get reused if they truly put their minds to it and they work it out that way. And let's look at the pictures. It looks like they could do some symmetrical part reuse. It's a possibility. It is definitely a possibility. I kind of think they did that with the vintage one, though. But anyway, with all of that, there's things they can do to reduce costs and get it down. My belief, the fact you won't have to pay for Cerebros, that's not part of the cost, and the fact that this has already been done for about $1,100 by Lewin Resources, but you know Fanstoys is going to charge a premium. I'm thinking $1,400. So that's my number, and I'm going to stick to $1,400 as my guess, my estimate on this. Now, I'm not saying I want it to be that much. I still would rather it be $700. That's my goal. But I'm assuming with what's all going on these days, this day and age, and how big this is, how few they're going to produce, how big the tooling's going to have to be to make this, all those factors put into it, I am guessing it's going to cost about $1,400. And that's not for everybody. Not everybody wants a $1,400 Fortress Maximus. I mean, it's great. It looks amazing. But $1,400 is my guess on this guy. Big Bad Toy Store still has slots available for the Still Fortress Lewin Resources for pre-order arriving in July. Well, we're in July. And it's $1,600. Now, that's, of course, baking in the shipping. And they probably got burned on the first few they shipped out. But only ships to the United States. So this thing being big brings up an entirely different issue. A whole different bag of worms. A whole different issue. If you are going to want to, say, resell your Lewin Resources in the future, or sell off the FT-40 in the future, that's always a consideration you have to have. Corporations call that end of use, an end of use expectation, or planning, end of use planning. And with that, when you're done using it and you want to sell it, you're going to have some issues. Now, you're going to have the same problems PBTS has with shipping that everyone's having with shipping this thing this big. If a box gets too big and it's more than 108 inches around in circumference, and so you add up all the sides, and if it's more than 108 inches, the dimensions end up being more than 108 inches, they will not ship it. It just, they won't accept it. If you walk into the post office with a package too big, they won't accept it. UPS even has limits to where you have to go to a freight carrier past that. And so with that, this is one of those that pushes the limits of a freight carrier. Shipping is a huge issue. It's a massive issue. And even if other companies go out of their way to get it to your doorstep, some people said they actually had to go pick it up at the local place, at the UPS or at the FedEx or whatever, because it was too big to deliver. So there's a lot of things, a lot of issues to consider. I'm not trying to be a downer, I'm just being a realist. But when you go to sell it, how are you going to get it to people? You're going to ship 3 different packages, and each $60 to $100 package for shipping. I mean, end of use is always a thought that you have to have when you buy something this massive, that unless you're taking it to your grave. Lastly, I want to touch on Cerebros. We got the Japanese version of Cerebros, and I believe that we'll get a US recolor of Cerebros, which is, oddly enough, I believe, way more demanded. And it is actually smart, because they know that people were hungry for this. They bought it even though it wasn't the US coloration. They put the exact same figure out, just colored for the US. And blam, they got you. They got you with a reissue in the US color scheme. And then people will be like, well, what do I do with my other Cerebros now that the new US color version that I really want is out? You put it on top of your FT-40, that's what you do. Or you just have fun with it. You put it in the head mode, and put it on the base. There's other things you can do, but it is what it is. I think it's still a great figure. Their Cerebros looks fantastic on the shelf, but a US version would look more fantastic. And yes, it does have a different head. I just want to say, don't get too excited, because it's going to be a while till this thing comes out. But are you excited for this? Did this reignite that flame, that passion for this guy? Or is this still another tactic of bot blocking in a way, shape, or form? I don't know. I think that they'll really eventually make it, but it's going to be a while. I don't see it in 2026, and there's a lot of other projects they've got on their plate. And I've got to say, Fanstoys does put out quite a few figures. They are very prolific, but this is something that's still further down the road. But it's nice that it's still, hey, we got some Digibash renders, and that's better than nothing. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, subscribe to Jeremy Hanger out.